Hey folks, Eric Bray, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock. It is Wednesday, August the 16th. Wound up not having a trip yesterday, had one scheduled. I forecast for torrential downpours and it never happened, and we wound up not doing the trip yesterday. Just finished up a trip today, kind of waiting to see if we're going to do the afternoon trip or not. Got a lot of rain in the area, so chances are we aren't going back out, but go ahead and shoot this real quick in between. As far as our lake level is concerned, we are at 916.97 as of this morning, which is 3/100ths below normal summer pool. So even with this rain, we have pretty much maintained summer pool. Corey is running a lot of water today. That did kind of affect our bite today. Spread the shad out and made the bite a lot tougher on us. As far as water temperature, we're right around 80 degrees. 80, 81 is pretty much everything, what I'm seeing all over the lake. It doesn't seem to matter whether I'm at the dam, up the James. I was up the James earlier today. It's all 80, 81 degrees everywhere I go on the lake. So the water temperature is pretty much cooled off about 10 degrees in the last 2 weeks and seems to be getting a little bit cooler. Seems like it'll probably cool off a little bit more unless we get some hot weather next week, which they are calling for some warmer weather next week once all this rain and everything else moves through. As far as the bite is concerned, if you guys are coming down, say you're going to fish the lower end of the lake, got a couple of different bites going on. Still got that swim bait bite going on, throwing the Kitech 2.8 on either a swim gem or a squirrel head. Most of those fish are suspended above trees or around bigger docks, and most of them you're going to find are going to be down about 8 to 10 feet. They're not really deep, they're not down real far, so you just basically throw it out, count it down about a 5 to an 8 count, and then reel it in slow and pause it. You get a lot of bites when you pause the bait. Seems to be the key to catching more fish, is stopping that bait every once in a while. There has been a resurgence of a topwater bite, even down by the dam area. You land on the right school of fish, they will stay up for a little bit, especially if they get the shad moving, they push the shad to the surface. You can catch quite a few fish on a topwater. Whopper plopper's been working, spook, Sammy, popper, just about any sort of top water you want to throw, you can catch them doing that as well. And then the deep bite, still catching them drop shotting, most of them on gravel points or even gravel mixed with rock points, anywhere from about 18 to 26 foot deep seems to be the key depth on that. Still using the shad shaped worm, Chomper's drop shot worm, UV finesse worm, all those baits are working. And you're going to see 1 or 2 fish on the graph. You set the hook, you'll have a couple of them blow up, and you can catch 4 or 5 before the school settles back down, but you are going to have to move. It is still August. We're going into September, which is traditionally a fairly tough month to fish, but you are going to have to move quite a bit. You can't just stay over one spot. You got to move around and try to stay on top of the fish. Come here to the mid-lake area, and a lot of fish are starting to show up on a topwater here as well. Whopper plopper's been working, spook, Sammy, popper, all those baits have been working fairly well down here, especially first thing in the morning, or if you've got a cloudy day like we have today. Throw that topwater wherever you see surface activity. They are forcing a lot of shad to the surface. You're catching quite a few fish doing that. Swim bait's working as well. Kitech 2.8 has been a solid bait. Again, on the swim gem, on the squirrel head, and same sort of deal. Looking for those fish to be around standing timber, around boat docks, especially the bigger boat docks with a lot of cables coming off of them. Those are holding a lot of fish. And again, you're going to throw it out, count it down about a 5 to an 8 count, reel it in slow, and pause it every once in a while. It seems like most of your bites will come when you pause the bait, not while the bait's moving. And then a drop shot. We're catching them on a drop shot all over the lake still. Most of them are on gravel points. Have caught a few around some of the bigger boat docks here and around some of the trees, but most of them are on gravel points, anywhere from about 18 to 25 feet deep. Right on the bottom, shad shaped worm's been working, a dream shot's been working, the UV finesse worm and the Chomper's finesse worm. All those baits are working on the drop shot in the mid-lake area. Go up into the James where I was today, and the bite was kind of tough today. It was kind of odd. It seemed like the areas I'd been catching them over the weekend were where they were shad were a little bit more schooled up. It seems like this extra current that the Corps ran today pulled those fish out, and we didn't really get as many bites, didn't really see as many fish. It seemed like it pulled the fish off of the bank and more towards the actual creek channel, which made it a lot tougher to fish for them. We did catch some on a swim bait. We did catch some on the drop shot as well. If you go further up the James, there is a good big worm bite going on right now. A lot of guys are catching them on a big worm, anywhere from about 10 to about 20 feet deep. 10, 12-inch worm, Texas rig. Brush piles are key. Catching a lot of fish by pulling it through a brush pile and fishing it very, very slow. You want to work it over those limbs and back down in. And some fish are starting to show up on some of the steeper banks up there on a jig too. Jewel Pro Spider jig, 7/16. Okeechobee Blue's been a good color. Table Rock Secret's been a good color. And Watermelon Candy, all those have been good colors, matched up with a Zoom Speed Craw. And again, those fish have been anywhere from about 10 to about 20 feet deep on some of those steeper banks and steeper points. Kind of a chunk rock mixed with gravel has been key as far as catching those fish on a jig up that way. White River continues to be about the same. A lot of fish on the White River on a drop shot rig. Was up there last Thursday, I guess it was, and caught quite a few fish on a drop shot rig, mostly on gravel runouts, 18 to 22 feet deep, 23, 24 feet deep. Shad shaped worm was working really good up there. The Dream Shot was working really good up there. Chomper's drop shot worm and a UV finesse worm. All those are working that drop shot. And again, you can't just stay in one spot. You got to kind of work your way on these points and flats. And when you see a fish, drop down to them, hook them. That'll activate the school, bring the rest of them up. You can catch 2 or 3 out of each school, and then you just got to move on. The swim bait bite's pretty strong up there as well. Kitech 2.8 on either a swim gem or a squirrel head. And throwing the same sort of deal, man. You're throwing it along wherever you see these fish that are suspended 8 to 10 to 20 feet down over top of the trees or around the bigger docks. Throw it out, give it an 5 to an 8 count, work it back in slow, and pause it. If you don't pause it, you're not going to get nearly as many bites than if you swim it in straight. Just pause it every once in a while, you'll get a heck of a lot more bites. And then the jig bite up there. Started to catch a few on some rockier banks on a jig. Pro Spider jig's been working really good, especially 7/16. Okeechobee Blue's been probably my best color up there, matched up with a Speed Craw, putting a little bit of chartreuse or a little bit of orange on the pinchers and working that bait down from, probably 10 to 18, almost to 20 feet deep on those main lake and in the bigger creeks, those kind of channel swing banks. A lot of fish are starting to show up on there. I think they've never really moved deep, but I think they are starting to move a lot shallower, especially since the water's stabilized and the water's cooling off. They are starting to make a little bit of a migration. So there are some fish up there shallow, and there's a good topwater bite up there as well. Best topwater bites wherever you're going to have some standing timber, whether it's visible or not, and where you've got shad. If you can find shad, you're going to find fish over top of that standing timber. Whopper Plopper's been working well, especially the new middle-sized Whopper Plopper's been really good. The Spook, Sammy, Popper, all those baits are working wherever you've got surfacing fish or wherever you've got shad up close to the surface. Hey guys, it is middle of August, and I don't know, it's 70 degrees. It's nice out today. A little rainy. I'm a little wet from this morning's trip, but I'm going to go out and give it a shot again this afternoon if it doesn't rain too hard. But I'll tell you, the fish are shallow. A lot shallower than I expect them. Normally this time of year we're fishing 30, 40, 50 feet deep to get bit. Really haven't had to do that. A lot of fish are staying shallow, starting to catch some on a topwater. The bite seems to be getting better with the cooler water, with the cooler weather. I really think we're going to be catching a lot of fish here over the next month and a half, 2 months. And then once the fall bite gets here, it's going to be crazy. Get into late September, early October, it should be a blast, especially if the water doesn't get too much hotter than it is right now. But guys, if you're, maybe you want to learn how to drop shot, great time to come down and drop shot. We're catching a lot of fish on a drop shot, a lot of fish deep. Want to learn how to read the electronics? It's a great time to come down and do that too, because we are using the electronics a lot when we're drop shotting. Want to just go out and have fun and catch them on a topwater? There's a decent topwater bite going on. We haven't had a topwater bite all year. It's just now starting to kick in. It seems like we're going to have a good fall topwater bite this year. Want to go out and learn how to catch them on a jig or on a big worm? Great idea. A lot of fish coming on a jig and a big worm right now. So if you guys are thinking about coming down, want to book a trip, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. Hit my website, focusfishing.com. You can check availability on there. You can book online on there. Whether you book online or just shoot me an email, we'll get hooked up, get out there, we'll catch some fish. gonna be a good fall. You don't want to miss out on the good fall fishing that we've got coming up. So give me a call. Let's get something booked early. Can't wait to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. We'll see you on the water.